Look, keep fit windows. I'm getting stronger. Hey y'all, welcome back to Doug's Cars. Today I got a real treat. A stick shift Mercedes SL. It's an SL 350, which is a small V8. They were not sold in the US. This is a total European model. I don't think they even sold these as manual transmission cars in the United States, but this one is. It's a 4-speed manual. It's a 1973, like first year of production. Got the top down. It's a beautiful day here in sunny, cloudy Richmond, Virginia. I'm up here visiting some friends and family, and I got the opportunity to drive. This car is owned by buddy Sherman. He has let me drive a bunch of his cars over the years. His Buick Roadmaster, his Chevy C10 pickup, which is a 67, a 55 Buick, like I said. His 67 Beetle, which was the first time I'd driven a Beetle. His 57 Thunderbird, which I got to drive before it went on Bring a Trailer. That was awesome. I'd never driven. I think that might be, no, I take that back. The Buick Roadmaster was the oldest car I'd ever driven. But hey, this car is older than I am. Clutch is a little, the spring is a little not happy. And I've got pollen in my eye. Anyway, oh yeah, listen to that V8. It's a little V8. We got 4.5 liter V8s in the US, even when they were called 350s initially. Fourth gear. It's in kilometers, so I'm going about 88, which is not 88 miles an hour like in Back to the Future, but it's about 50 some miles an hour. I think it's 55. Beautiful top-down driving. This is great. Like I said, it's a 1973, so it's one of the first years of production, and it's a European model, so it really doesn't have any of the creature comforts that came, especially on the later SLs that we got in the US. This does not have air conditioning at all. Not climate control, nothing. No AC. This is your AC here. And yeah, it doesn't like to downshift, but sometimes you have to when you go around a corner. So it's got a couple little issues with the transmission and the clutch, I think, but other than that, this thing drives really well. The brakes are great. Steering wheel is ever so slightly off center. I'll show a nice interior video once I'm done driving it, but I had the opportunity to take this out right now, and I just had to. We got the top down. It also has crank windows. I don't know if any of the US market SLs ever came with crank windows, because of course the Mercedes in the US was always sold as a luxury brand, especially by the mid to late 70s when these really came on full steam and became a mass market car here. They made something over 200,000 of these from like 72 to 1989, and I mean, the majority of them, like 150,000 of them, came to the US. This is the era of personal luxury coupes, personal luxury convertibles as the case may be. The 70s especially, they came on big in the US. Monte Carlos, Grand Prix, the Thunderbird became a big, ungainly, heavy, 2-door Lando roof car. All these things just took off in the 70s. I can remember in the 80s as a kid, we had a 2-door, a Coupe de Ville, and I climbed in out of the back seat, no problem. That was back in the days before everybody had to have their own door. Everyone I knew grew up with like a Monte Carlo in the family or something like that. And the kids just got in the back. It's just the way it was. Now you've got to have, 18 doors, and oh, great, the school is letting out, and there's a million school buses. Yay, school buses. Okay, good. That one actually stopped, and I didn't have to downshift. Good thing about having a nice old V8 is, can I just point out how happy I am that I'm driving a stick shift with a V8? That's just such a great concept and a great combination. And it's a glorious day. I got the top down. I haven't had a convertible in a couple of years since I sold that E36 M3 that I bought off of Tyler Hoover, and which was a hoopty. And so I don't get to experience it too much. And I've driven newer ones of these. You can check a video out I did last year where I drove late 70s 450 SL, American market one with the crazy bumpers, and I'm gonna have to make a turn here. There were some kids crossing the street. I didn't want to impale them on the front of this glorious 3-pointed star hood. Oh yeah. It sounds great. And this car is probably as powerful as the 450 was in the US with all the emissions regulations strangling it. Smog pumps and all the California emissions that were required back in those days, before they really learned how to tune an engine properly to work with those, instead of making an engine, bolting all of that crap on and then saying it only has 140 horsepower for some reason now. I don't know why. So it's just a nice ride. This would be fun to drive around where I live now in Fernandina. If I had a garage to put it in, would just leave the top down. Taking the top down requires a tool. You can't just like undo two handles and fold it back. And there's a couple of handles on the back. You flip up the tonneau cover, fold the roof down in there, and then latch the tonneau cover back down. You don't want to drive around with the top up, back without the tonneau cover down, because it would be sticking straight up in the air. You still have the four round air vents, the eyeball air vents that these cars were known for having, but of course this one doesn't have the AC to blow through it, which that would be a drawback in Florida especially, but also here. People got on my case once when I put on Twitter that I only like convertibles with functioning air conditioning. And I'm sorry, if you live in the UK, you probably don't need that. But if you live in the Southeast, and any place with a lot of traffic lights, in the summer, especially like black seats like this, it's tough. You sit at a light, everyone, gets their own light for the left turn, right turn, whatever. You could be sitting there for 3-4 minutes, and if it's 94 degrees out and 90% humidity in August, you're just baking for several minutes. If you get that cold air blowing on you, it makes the car actually so much more enjoyable. That being said, today's about 80 degrees, a little cloudy, a little overcast, but a little sun, and it just feels great. But it's April, it's not August. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out later in the summer, if this gets used as much when the summertime comes around, because anyway, that's my convertible with AC rant. But all that to say, I am so happy that Sherman got this, and then I've been able to give it a little test drive here. He said he's only driven it once himself, which is unfortunate because it's a neat car. Got a downshift. Okay, we're good. Okay, I know the downshift makes a clunky poo there, and I just didn't want it to do that. Heading into the home stretch here. I'm gonna pull up here and do a little view of what the inside of the car looks like. Again, I've reviewed these before, so it's not totally different to what I'm used to seeing. It's just a little more, shall we say, decontented, because of course it's missing a few of the features that you expect in a Mercedes, and certainly a Mercedes by the mid-70s, at least in the US. I mean, they came with climate control. They came with a lot of these features, central locks, the vacuum operated ones, the power windows, things like that we're accustomed to, used to, and still enjoy. So let's take a quick look around the car. I'll show you all under the hood, and then I'll show you all the interior. Here goes nothing. There's the mighty 3.5 liter V8. No AC compressor, of course, because there's no air conditioning, but yeah, it's got a tiny little battery. Wow. Because it doesn't have any accessories on it. You can see the Zündfuge there. It tells you, how the plugs fire in this engine. Got a big usual air filter and air intake. Looks like it's had some new components installed, of course, and of course it's a lot of Bosch. Does have a Nur automatic transmission fluid. That's funny. Nur means only in German, but they wouldn't say automatic transmission fluid. That's kind of funny for the power steering. Fairly modern brake booster, but this was a fairly safe car for the time, and there you go. That's under the hood of the 350, and that sounds good when it shuts. Let's take a quick look inside. Ooh, Tacoma. All right, as we hop in, I already know it's got the crank windows, but this dash layout kind of changed, well, very little. In the look, it's a manual. In the almost 20 years this car was made, of course they wouldn't have a Becker Mexico cassette later on. They would have the much updated digital Becker systems for years and years. But you can see the gauges. You've got a very classic layout here. Everything you need: temp, oil, tank. You've got the the tach there, and this has 177,000 kilometers on it. You've got your wash wipe here on the turn signal stock brake release. So it's got a foot parking brake. So you've got count them, 4 pedals, much like an American car of that time would have had if it were a manual, although those were becoming pretty rare. Heat controls and a fan and defroster. That's all you got. A little ashtray down here, hazard lights that actually actually work. Nice. Glove box here. And here's the crazy tool you need to insert up here to unlock the roof, which is just odd that that's required. But wait, there's more. There's actually jump seats back here. The US models didn't come with these. I mean, no one could sit back there. I mean, I'm not even gonna try the Doug DeMuro, because it's not even possible. There's just not. I mean, I can't. My hand is stuck between these seats. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, and you've got the cool wiper here. Let me go ahead and wiper on. They're slow, but they move. How cool is that? Weird. Who came up with that? I have no idea, but this is an awesome car, and thanks so much to Sherman for letting me drive this. I wanted to drive this. Look, it's a stick shift. It's a stick shift. I had to drive a V8 stick shift Mercedes. Come on. Who's going to turn that down? And he just recently picked this up, and I'm so glad, so grateful that he had this European model imported and was able to drive. It's got the European headlights, of course. Doesn't have the diving board bumpers. It's just the way it should be. Although I know those are in high demand for some reason, and it's not a 560 SL with all the creature comforts of the late 80s, but it is a fantastic ride. I'm so happy he got this. I'm so happy for him, and I hope he really has a lot of time and fun enjoying this. Open top motoring is always nice, and a nice day like today. I'm gonna toss him back the keys so maybe he can take it for a ride, because like I said, he's only driven it once. So thanks again to him. Thanks to y'all for watching. I haven't been able to do a driving video in a while. I had so many events back in February and March that I did that I just didn't have an opportunity to really be driving any new cars and test them out for y'all. So thanks so much for watching all those festivities I went to in Florida and other places, and thanks for watching Doug's Cars. More awesome content coming your way as soon as I can. Thanks y'all so much. Have a great day.